If AJ doesn't knock him out in the first round, in the second round, then he didn't really win the fight, even if he ultimately does win the fight on the scorecards. Do you feel that sort of pressure to not just win, Anthony, but also knock Jake Paul out?
Yeah, I understand. I really understand where they're coming from. I understand. I get it. I know the expectations and demands these fans have, and I respect it. If I didn't respect it, I'll be honest with you and say, nah, they're talking rubbish. But I do get it, because I hold myself in that same regard. So I need to do it. And that's my intention, to seek and destroy.
My voice cracked. I'm still going through puberty.
The biggest fight of 2025. USA versus UK. He's got the belts, the size, the history, but I have the balls. Be careful what you wish for.
He would be incapable of going in there and holding back. I mean, I think the only thing that's a bit harsh is if Anthony Joshua doesn't knock him out in the first round.
Anthony Joshua has sent a powerful message to Jake Paul ahead of their showdown. He isn't talking about just winning. He's predicting a brutal first-round finish. Joshua has made it crystal clear that there will be no mercy, no slow start, and no moments of hesitation. From the opening bell, he plans to explode forward, overwhelm Jake with non-stop pressure, and end the fight before it even gets going. Joshua wants to make the gap in strength, technique, and experience impossible to ignore right from the start.
Saying this, is there any clause that says you need to go easy on Jake Paul?
Honestly, I haven't seen that part, but no, there's no clause. I heard that he fought Mike Tyson in 14-ounce gloves. I heard that he was going to fight Javante in 12-ounce gloves, and then he chose to fight me in 10-ounce gloves. So there's no part. He wants to go easy. Then I think he wants to hurt me.
Michael Bisping has shared his thoughts on the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul matchup, and he isn't sugarcoating anything, according to Bisping. The physical difference between the two fighters is far too big to ignore, he believes. Jake has no real answer for the kind of power Joshua brings, especially when you look at how Joshua has handled true knockout artists in the past, including fighters like Francis Ngannou. Bisping suggests that the gap in strength, experience, and overall firepower could turn this into a completely one-sided contest.
Anthony Joshua and gets flatlined. Every single punch that was thrown was landed, and every punch that landed put Francis Ngannou down, okay? So to stand there and think that Jake Paul, who's much, much smaller, who has way less experience, that doesn't weigh anything near him, is gonna have a chance, and not to mention the technical abilities. Let's just talk about that. Not to mention the technical abilities or experience. We're talking about an Olympic gold medalist, remember, from back in the day, who's then gone on to become a true British boxing icon, or a worldwide boxing icon, let's be honest, right? There's no way that he loses to Jake Paul.
Derek Chisora takes a completely different approach when giving his thoughts on the matchup. For him, this fight has nothing to do with legacy, skill levels, or proving who the better boxer is. Chisora believes the whole thing is fueled by business, plain and simple. He says fans shouldn't look at Joshua versus Jake Paul as some career-defining showdown, but rather as a made-for-entertainment event designed to generate money and attention. In his view, the fight is less about pure competition and more about a calculated move that financially benefits everyone involved. Chisora's perspective cuts through the hype and highlights the commercial motives driving this matchup.
AJ against Jake, but what sort of gulf do you expect to see?
Listen, we are in the game of entertainment. Either we're entertainment in the ring or on the football pitch, it don't matter. It's called entertainment. People are gonna buy tickets to go watch Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua fight. You know, we're all entertainers, either way. So I'm happy. I'm so happy for AJ because he's doing this for himself. And you have to understand, you have to give so much respect to Jake Paul. You know, whatever he says, he makes it happen. You know, before he was like he wants to fight Anthony Joshua and people were laughing at him. And then suddenly it's happened and people are like, wow, what's going on here? You know, so kudos to that kid, man. He's very good at promoting everything he does.
Derek, do you reckon there's a bit of jealousy from other boxers and even like pundits flying around as well? Because even since it's been announced last night and today,
I know the biggest jealousy pundit you guys have in that is Simon Jordan. I'm telling you right now, Simon Jordan right now, he must be suffering in...
Eddie Hearn steps into the conversation with a balanced and realistic viewpoint. While fans are buzzing about the possibility of Anthony Joshua ending the fight in the very first round, Hearn reminds everyone that boxing rarely follows the script people expect. Yes, Joshua is the seasoned heavyweight with the power to end things early, but once the bell rings, opponents often move, defend, and disrupt the rhythm. Hearn points out that if Jake Paul stays mobile and survives the initial surge, the fight could naturally carry into the second or even third round, and that shouldn't be seen as a disappointment for Joshua. His message is clear: don't pile unrealistic pressure on AJ by demanding a one-round knockout. Such expectations can take a fighter out of their focus, forcing them to chase moments instead of maintaining composure, strategy, and control.
But yeah, but it's obviously scripted, isn't it? I'm like, no. One, that's illegal. I mean, this is a professional contest. Two, we would never sign up to anything that's going to make AJ look bad or devalue him, lose rounds, go loads of rounds.
Do you think there's any world in which AJ pulls back, though?
No, absolutely. He couldn't do that as a fighter. He would be incapable of going in there and holding back. I mean, I think the only thing that's a bit harsh is if Anthony Joshua doesn't knock him out in the first round, he should be ashamed of himself. Like, Brian, give us two, or three. Because if Jake does move, he can look after himself. It's not like he's just going to get one shot round the arm and go on the floor. He's a tough guy.
KSI, who has his own long-running feud with Jake Paul and has carved out his own path in boxing, adds fuel to the fire with his usual unapologetic attitude. He revealed that he straight-up messaged Anthony Joshua, urging him not to let the fight reach 8 rounds under any circumstances. According to KSI, if the bout drags on that long, it would mean Joshua failed to deliver the level of dominance expected from an elite heavyweight when facing someone with Jake's limited experience. From KSI's perspective, the pressure on Joshua is massive. It's not just about the size, power, or technical gap. It's about the global comparison happening between the two. Fans everywhere are measuring every detail of this matchup, and Xi believes Joshua must prove the difference right away, without letting the fight stretch longer than it should.
What's happening with that?
I couldn't give 2 Fs about Jake. Do not care. I can't wait to see Jake Paul get absolutely starched by AJ. I messaged AJ and I said, brother, if this guy is able to get out that ring within 8 rounds, you haven't done your job good.
Did he reply?
You haven't done your job well. Yes. Yeah, I talked to AJ, bro. He said he's going to do a madness, yeah.
Would you get in the ring with Anthony Joshua?
No. Yeah, he's stupid. He's an idiot. He loves the fame and he loves the money. So ultimately, if you're just that money hungry and that fame hungry, you're going to just do whatever. You don't care what it is. So getting in the ring with AJ, he's there like in his head probably thinks, yeah, you know what? I've got this. Also, I'm going to get a load of money and I'm going to get a load of fame from this. But is it really?
Barry McGuigan, a respected former world champion and one of boxing's most experienced voices, brings a much more serious tone to the discussion. His perspective comes from decades spent around fighters whose power can end a career with one clean shot. When he pictures Jake Paul standing across the ring from Anthony Joshua, he doesn't respond with hype or excitement. He responds with concern. McGuigan has seen the dangers of true heavyweight power up close, and he understands how quickly things can turn in the ring. To him, this matchup carries a level of risk that casual fans may not fully grasp. He emphasizes that one punch from a heavyweight like Joshua can alter everything instantly, making this far more than just another celebrity-driven event. His comments highlight the real danger behind a matchup that many outsiders assume is simply entertainment.
You know, for those last 2 fights, that it is more difficult than he thought to boil himself down to 147. So it may be better for him to concentrate at 150, 154. But then you got Ortiz, you got Boots Ennis, and you got Brian Norman Jr. all in the 154 pound category. So it's a tough division. So it wouldn't at all surprise me if he's unable to win a world title because the opposition is good. But maybe if he boiled down to 147 again, he would have a better chance.
Last thing I want to ask you about, Barry, is the big news regarding Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul. One of the biggest quotes, two of the quotes that stuck out to me was that David Hayes said that fight could be Jake Paul's last day on earth. And I think Gareth A. Davis has described it as a freak show. Some people are saying, AJ's grabbing the bag. There's nothing wrong with that because anybody else, if they got offered that kind of money, they would do it. And some people are suggesting he might damage his legacy. Where do you sit with the decision of him taking that fight? And it's a professional 8-round fight as well.
Yes, it's a highly dangerous fight for Jake Paul. I don't know what he's doing unless they have done some sort of caveat or some sort of agreement that he says he's going to go easy on him or he's not going to go.
Another angle being discussed is how this fight could reshape Anthony Joshua's public image. Some analysts believe that if Joshua delivers a dominant, statement-making performance, he could restore the aura he had during the early peak of his career. A few even suggested that, in terms of global presence and mainstream appeal, Joshua could step back into the kind of larger-than-life spotlight that icons like Muhammad Ali once commanded. Not in terms of boxing ability or legacy, but in the way the world pays attention. According to these commentators, a powerful, explosive win would remind the public that Joshua is still one of the biggest attractions in heavyweight boxing. It would revive the confident, commanding presence that originally made him an international superstar, helping him reclaim the spotlight and rebuild the magnetic energy that once surrounded his rise.
Then pops him a few times in the face, walks out of 150 million quid. No one will remember the fact he fought Jake Paul. They'll remember the fact he knocked Klitschko out in Wembley in 2017.
Totally agree with that.
So I'm kind of, whilst I don't like it, and I don't like the way that Jake Paul gravitates to these brilliant athletes and like a moth sucks the life out of them because he gets a benefit of association, because I think they deserve all the association. But he is a and there was opportunity there, wasn't there?
Listen, commercially, of course it works because it'll be huge and there'll be a load of money on the table. And for Anthony Joshua, it's like sort of, he's going to get rewarded very well with no risk, minimal risk, no risk at all. He's going to go in there and he may then put all this stuff to bed with Jake Paul and calling out all these different champions, etc., etc. So, of course it works. And when you're talking about, the credibility that Joshua's going to get, he's not going to get none now, but are people going to remember that? Of course they're not. Like, when he goes on to do what he does, didn't Muhammad Ali have some sort of strange fight in the middle of his career? Didn't he box? Yeah, he did. He boxed some non-boxing guy and whatnot. Like, people don't remember that. That's what I'm saying. Look, us as boxers, we don't remember stuff like that.
It was replicated in Rocky. So, he did a version of Fighting Thunderlips, didn't he? So we
That wraps up today's video. Make sure to stay tuned for more updates, and we'll catch you in the next one.